Right. It's not just that. Also, Rob, we had ridiculous rulings day in, day out. Gag orders. Speaking of the gag order that came out today,
Yeah.
I was gagged. As an attorney officer of the court representing a client, I was gagged in court. Now, that's very different than Alina Habba, spokeswoman, can't go on TV. I was not only not allowed to go on TV, I couldn't speak in court and put things on a record so that I had a record for appeal on certain issues that we felt were very important. So I think
When you cover these losers or lawyers, when you cover these lawyers of Donald Trump, they are so utterly predictable. It's just the same move they have over and over again. I used to play basketball, and there used to be someone who could only dribble to the right. You would just adjust your body because you go, they could only dribble with their right hand. All these Trump lawyers know how to do is whine and say things are being so unfair because they have no skills in the courtroom. That is Alina Habba right there whining about how a gag order was imposed on her in the New York Attorney General's civil fraud case by Justice Arthur Engoron because she and Donald Trump continued to attack and, frankly, in my opinion, harass Justice Engoron's law clerk, which is just unprecedented. Like, who attacks the law clerk and gets obsessed with the judge's law clerk who's there to assist the judge? And now Justice Juan Merchan in the Manhattan District Attorney criminal case has watched the proceedings and watched how Donald Trump behaved in the New York Attorney General civil fraud case. Justice Merchan watched what transpired in the E. Jean Carroll case, where federal judge Lewis Kaplan very strongly commanded his federal courtroom and basically shut down Alina Habba and Donald Trump's games. And Judge Merchan earlier in the day issued a gag order against Donald Trump and against those acting on Donald Trump's behalf, who, by the way, I believe Alina Habba would be included that if she's out there trying to carry threatening messages on behalf of Donald Trump. And Justice Juan Merchan also issued an order that we in the legal field called sua sponte, S-U-A space S-P-O-N-T-E, sua sponte, on his own, basically warning Donald Trump and Trump's lawyers about their behavior. Technically, it was part of another order rejecting Donald Trump's lawyers' efforts to request that they don't have to request permission to file motions, but kind of on his own initiative, Justice Juan Merchan said, look, I'm warning you, behave yourself professionally or I will hold you in contempt. I want to show you those developments in a moment that you see Alina Habba flipping out to right there. But here she is going back to the whining that we always see. And she says, it's a disgrace that this case, the hush money payment felony case, is even going forward on April 15th, as Justice Juan Merchan ordered. Let's watch Alina Habba whine. Everybody play this clip.
That case that's going forward in April is another disgrace and shows the demise of the state of New York, which I used to love.
One more clip here. This is Alina Habba trying to spread conspiracies. Again, that's all, it's part of her playbook. And here she says that she's basically trying to say that this is Biden's behind the Manhattan District Attorney case against Donald Trump, the hush money case. And it's the DOJ working in coordination with the Manhattan District Attorney case is like what is the conspiracy she wants to spread. Let me just explain to you why that's so dumb in one moment. Let me just show you this clip.
It's disgusting. Just look at the White House logs. If anybody wants to tell me something's not coordinated, explain to me why a state official, why people that are supposed to be elected by their state and working for their state constituents is now working with the White House administration. It makes no sense.
Okay, yes, Alina Habba. So it was such great coordination between the Department of Justice and the Manhattan District Attorney's Office that the DOJ refused to turn over the documents when they were requested by the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. But when they were requested by Donald Trump back in January, they turned it over in March, which initially led to the March 25th trial date being adjourned. What great, brilliant coordination is that for the DOJ to not help out the Manhattan District Attorney. Brilliant strategy right there. Of course, I'm mocking all of that. And then Donald Trump goes back to his playbook. He attacks Justice Merchan. He attacks Justice Juan Merchan's daughter. He always attacks the judges' families. That's part of it. That's part of his move. He randomly attacks Adam Schiff, who he calls Shifty Schiff. Judge Juan Merchan, a very distinguished looking man, is nevertheless a true and certified Trump hater who suffers from a very serious case of Trump derangement syndrome. In other words, he hates me. His daughter is a senior executive at a super liberal Democrat firm. There he goes back to posting that. Also, you have to get through all of these ads on his social media platform. You want Trump Gold America, Save America cards? You want Trump bucks? You want to change your real money for some Trump dollar bills, everybody? It's so utterly pathetic. Let's take a look at Justice Juan Merchan's gag order right here. Order that the people's motion, people being the Manhattan District Attorney's Office, for a restriction on the extrajudicial statements by defendant Donald Trump, that's who defendant is granted to the extent that defendant is directed to refrain from the following: making or directing others to make public statements about known or reasonably foreseeable witness concerning their potential participation in the investigation or in the criminal proceedings, making or directing others to make public statements about counsel in the case other than the district attorney, members of the court staff, and the district attorney's staff, or 3, the family members of any counsel or staff members, if those statements are made with the intent to materially interfere with or to cause others to materially interfere with counsel or staff's work in this criminal case, or with the knowledge that such interference is likely to result, and C, making or directing others to make public statements about any prospective juror or any juror in this criminal proceeding. Signed, Justice Juan Merchan right there. You gotta love it and appreciate that he's taking control of his courtroom. And then, of course, Justice Merchan as well issued a order where he basically, this is where he says, I'm going to hold y'all in contempt, Trump lawyers, if you continue to behave like this. Here's what Justice Merchan said. The court advises counsel that it expects and welcomes zealous advocacy and creative lawyering. However, the court also expects those advocates to demonstrate the proper respect and decorum that is owed to the courts and its judicial officers, and to never forget that they are officers of the court. As such, counsel is expected to follow the court's orders. Even a good faith belief that a court order is improper or unlawful will not render the order unlawful, nor will it excuse willful disobedience. As such, a court of record has the power to punish for a criminal contempt a person who is guilty of willful disobedience to its law mandate. Signed, Justice Juan Merchan. Again, very powerfully taking control over his court right here. And then you have Donald Trump holding a press conference where he whines and says that he believes that making hush money payments to a porn star and then falsifying your business records, it's not a crime, Trump says. He goes, it's a misdemeanor, which...
That's not even a crime. We're being tried for something that's not even a crime. They say at most it's a misdemeanor, but there's no misdemeanor either.
Is a crime, but this is a felony case. Trump could serve 4 years in prison for this conduct. And unlike the case involving Justice Engoron, which was a civil case, Donald Trump will eventually, if found guilty, be sentenced by Justice Juan Merchan. So no attacking Justice Merchan's daughter and family when ultimately that individual will have the power in sentencing. Probably not the smartest thing to do. But then again, you've got Trump lawyers who don't do the smartest things, and instead they go and they follow their same patterns of the whining and the whining and the whining over and over again. It's just so predictable at this point. So, folks, you hear from Alina Habba. She believes this trial is going forward April 15th. Justice Juan Merchan said, come hell or high water, trial's taking place April 15th. Donald Trump is whining like a petulant little baby, and he's selling Bibles for $59.99. And then he says the pages are very sticky on these Bibles. That's how Donald Trump is spending his day. Like, I really don't care what political party you're from. Like, you got to look at that and be like, okay, I'm not giving that man the freaking nuclear codes. Like that's like a crazy person, right? Yeah. Okay, yeah. Hit subscribe. We're on our way to 3 million subscribers together. Thank you. Bye. Hit subscribe.
It's Ken Harbaugh with the MeidasTouch Network. The film Against All Enemies, which I co-produced with Ben Meiselas and this network, has won awards around the world for its up-close portrayal of America's insurrectionist movement. It premieres in the U.S. on March 29th on Amazon and Apple TV. Go to againstalllenemiesfilm.com or click the link below. But don't just watch Against All Enemies. Tell your friends about it. It's one more way to hold accountable those who threaten our democracy. Thanks, Meidas Mighty. Let's use our power well.